Big up to all those in YouTube land. Arsenal visit the bridge, and hopefully we can turn our horrible run of defeats against them. I got Jez, Kenny, and Carl, all from the Arsenal fan base. Some of them need no introduction. But hang on, give us a quick 10-second intro, and we'll get into this. Well, we are upon that time again. It's Chelsea versus Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. I have my usual partner in crime, JPT. How you doing, boy? You're right, bro?
Yeah, man, doing well. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're all doing well as well.
Kyle, big up to you, sir. How are you? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
Not too bad, brother. Not too bad. Trying to enjoy my Saturday afternoon before afternoon of chaos tomorrow. We always play badly against Arsenal. I don't know why. But you guys pammed us in. Was it 5-0 last time? I got that in mind. And of course, the dynamic duo. Like you never see one without the other here. Uncle Kenny Ken and Uncle Jezza making their returns to my channel. How are you both, sirs? And it's good to see you both again.
Kenny,
it's nice to be back. It's a massive game, but Chelsea are banging form. Arsenal are completely out of form, and I think they're suffering the effects of not winning the title. You can get over it once, but I suppose when it happens again, when it's both times being your hands, I generally think from a sort of human perspective, they haven't got over it, and their performance is shout there.
Fair enough. Jezza, how are you feeling about this?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having. It's been a while since been on the channel. Yeah, am I looking forward to the game tomorrow? I'm not sure, mate, to be honest, because let's be honest, Arsenal are bloody crap at the moment. But we'll get into that, I'm sure, and dissect it all.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Chelsea are going to be looking for their revenge, aren't they, from last year? So
yeah. Well, you made King Kai score against us. That was a bit of pale for Melly Chelsea because we still think he's crap. I'm not sure what the opinion of the Arsenal fan base is, but we still think he's crap. Yeah, it does depend. Well, I'm not jumping to conclusions because I've heard some refer to him as King Kai, and I look across and I'm like, nah. But before we get into this, and we start talking about the teams, right? We got to mention fitness issues because you guys have a lot, right? And I actually called JP. I think I told JPT this or someone else. I actually called you guys the Chelsea of this season, and what I mean by that is because you have an injury list as long as my arm. Now, do you guys know who's going to be out confirmed on Sunday or not? Because with Arteta, there's always a little juggle, like he tries to play an injured player or surprise. So who do you guys know for a fact that isn't playing?
Tierney, for fact, because he won't get in the team anyway, even if he was fit.
All right. that goes without saying, though, doesn't it? But okay, anyone else?
I don't know. I've rumours. Kenny may know more than me on this one. Apparently, Rice may play, even though he's got a broken toe. God knows why you would do that. But looks like we might have our illustrious captain back. So that'll be interesting to see the greatest creative footballer in the Premier League. There we go. You know what I
mean? Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's all I know, mate.
What about you, JPT, from the Chelsea side? We're not missing anyone, are we?
No, unless suspensions. But right now, it looks like everyone's good and healthy. Yeah, no, it's unless no. Do you know of anyone who might be suspended? I know we collect cards like crazy, but I think we already paid our suspensions. We paid our debt to society and gone to paid our sentences. But no, for once, we or again for the season we have no one on the list for injury. Hopefully Sanchez is out, but he's still healthy, unfortunately.
Yeah. We're waiting on our goalkeeper right now. Because that's the other thing I actually want to ask the Arsenal fans, and I'll ask Carl first, bless him. Because, do you think Arsenal, just like Chelsea, still have a massive goalkeeper issue, or have you guys finally settled that with Raya? Give me your feeling on that.
Okay, I feel for Arsenal, I feel like the issues is also their mentality. I feel like their issues is also like discipline. can find like Arsenal this season has picked up more yellow cards than they have last season. So I feel like that's the issue most of the time this season. Also, I think is a mentality. Arsenal, you don't see that drive to win the title in Arsenal. Like the game against City, for example, Arsenal, even though Arsenal was it one man down, or was it City one man down? So City one man down, but City managed to at least come back and get a point out of Arsenal in that game. That's what I mean. You don't see a team that wants to win the title. You just see a team that is okay with finishing in top 4.
Well, then I got to check that over to Kenny and Jezza then. Well, do you think there's still a big mentality problem, gents?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot more than that, if you want my honest opinion.
Of course, that's why you're here. Elaborate, please.
Kenny and I have talked about this on various streams over the weeks. I think it's more than that, mate. I think that some of these players were a little bit fed up with Arteta. They're a little. I mean, I'm convinced Trossard's had his day. He does seem so disheartened. He's not the player he was when he joined us from Brighton. And he just doesn't seem to want to be involved too much. And his last few appearances have been bloody awful. Let's put it right. I don't know. I think it's more than a mentality thing. I think it's a fact of they've just. I mean, I've heard people discuss the fact that it's because we went second, and they've lost their drive. Maybe that's true. I don't know, but it's a lot more than that, in my opinion. Because I just don't think they've got the heart in it. And if you haven't got the heart in it, then you ain't going to win it. Fact. So that's my view.
Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that, Unks? Do you think the cycle's now gone its full? Like, is it run its course, as they used to say? That, you know what I mean? Is it this now? Arteta's lost the dressing room.
Well, the thing about it is that if you have to go by logic. There's no way Jesus could be happy with the manager, or Trossard could be after their manager the way they've been selected or non-selected. Sterling's got to be frustrated. He has to be frustrated that, you brought me in, then all of a sudden you now think you've now said I'm no good. Why you're not picking me when Trossard's out of form, Martinelli's out of form. Martinelli's another one who's going to have issues because the fact, let's face it, Arteta's shown that he doesn't believe in him because he's trying to get Mudryk for £8 million, and Mudryk would have started ahead of Martinelli. So that's an issue in itself. Mikel's man management has been found wanting, but I think what's hickling us at the moment, it's not just the disciplinary issues. To have one player out of form, that's okay, but when you've got all your sort of like forward options out of form, that's a problem. The fact that the only players that are actually on form really consistently is Partey and Raya. You look at the games where we've won. Raya's been Raya saved us in games. Preserved the win or preserved the point. That is something that Arsenal fans need to sort of like reconcile. We haven't played well all season. We only played well against PSG and for probably about 70 minutes against Liverpool. Apart from that, we haven't played well, and it catches up with you because you raise your game. Everyone talks about Arsenal's start and how they had a difficult start. Well, if you're a big club, of course you're going to raise your game for Liverpool, Man City, Tottenham, Aston Villa. But that was never a problem. The problems are people like, teams like Bournemouth, Brighton, and I say it respectfully, Newcastle, but even the games we won at the Emirates, Southampton, we needed the last late goals. Leicester, late goals to see it off. If you're a team playing against Arsenal top in the bottom 10, you've got a good chance of beating us because we just can't lift our level for you lot, for the teams at that level. And they're the teams that are going to beat us, and they're the teams ultimately going to cost us a league, not performances against Man City or Liverpool. And I'm afraid that's how I look at it. Let's face it, we're probably not going to win the league because I think it's going to be a two-horse race between Liverpool and Man City at present.
Well, JPT, let me switch this over to the Chelsea perspective. How Right. Normally me and you talk about. I'm gonna let you get your own solo shout. How do you feel about this Arsenal game? Because our record against them recently, even with Arteta there, like, you know what I mean, it's been quite poor. So like, and they do beat us on a regular basis under Mikel. So how are you feeling towards this game, like, from the Chelsea side of things? Like, how are you feeling?
Well, I mean, right now is the best time to play them. You know, they've been kind of going on a decline for the season, especially while we've been on the rise. And if you're looking, yeah, they have beaten us, and of course, the last time was just a nightmare, which you mentioned with 5. But you know, look at the last 2 years. When, you know, were we really going to win it with Poch? Were we really going to win it with Potter? And I think we had one match with Lampard, but I could be wrong with that one. But yeah, it seems like this would be the best time to get a result at the Bridge, but we have an issue when it comes to like the bigger games, which don't know if, compared to the traditional Big Six, if we came up with a win. Because all I can think is the loss for Liverpool, loss for City, the draw at United, and I think this is the next one. It is going to come down to the same thing as from before, where is our defense and our goalkeeper going to get us into a situation where we had to come back?
Yeah, we're going to give them a
outscore
chance, bro, innit? You know that for a
exactly.
fact. We're going to give them a chance.
This season, it's been the same thing. We have to outscore our mistakes, and we can't really survive off that. And top 4 does get more and more difficult when it comes that's a situation, especially versus teams like this, because you know, we've done it to even teams that aren't even competing for the top 4. You know, look at Crystal Palace, where that should have been an easy win for us. And now, you know, when you mentioned injuries, the one thing that is, I forgot that I'm not sure if there's any update with his health, but Cole Palmer, with that nasty swipe from Martinez during the Manchester game, hopefully he's going to be in the lineup, ready to play, and it just, you know, wasn't as bad of an injury as everyone expected. But right now, we had to make a count if we really want to make a push for finishing top 4, maybe top 3. And get back into Champions League.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, Carl, big up to you, bro. Listen, right here we got a comment: Palmer versus Odegaard if he starts. Now, I was actually going to talk about Moises Caicedo and Declan Rice because they're both the £100 million men, blah blah blah. But Odegaard and Palmer, have we got something that you guys want in terms of what Palmer does? Is that something Odegaard should be doing more of? Because don't get me wrong, right? I know Odegaard can keep the midfield ticking and he'll keep things flowing. But I'm not being funny. In a comparison between the two, I think Palmer smokes Odegaard a lot because he's more dynamic. He affects games more and he scores a shitload more goals. I want Palmer. Yeah, your personal business is not something we bring onto the stream. But, you know, I mean, big up DJ Crane for that. He always says that. But yeah, give me your take on, like, in terms of the midfield battle, because we're gonna have to talk about Palmer and Rice. Caicedo and Rice at some point. But what's your take on the Odegaard Palmer situation?
Yeah, for Odegaard and Palmer, I'll say Odegaard is better, not because of what the skill set Odegaard has, but you can see Arsenal plays without Odegaard versus how Arsenal plays with Odegaard. Like, Arsenal plays better with Odegaard on the field than without him off the field. Like, if you take Palmer off the field for Chelsea may not do as well, but they'll at least win the game. Like the last few games, you can see Arsenal has been performing without Odegaard, and you can see how important he is to them.
So what you're saying is, in certain cases, it's better not to have Odegaard then?
No, I'm saying Odegaard is better than Palmer in terms of what he brings to the team.
All right, well, let me ask Ken, what do you think about that? Do you think Odegaard's better than Palmer?
They're different kind of players. Cole, in terms of, like, I understand Cole's 100% right. Without Odegaard on the side, our plan B is for next is effective for a short while, but long term it's bad. It's not great. But I think with Palmer, Palmer gets a bit of a free roll. But if you were to put Palmer into a position a position. If you compared Odegaard and Palmer and said give them both a free roll, Palmer's better. But if you say play Odegaard and Palmer in the positions number 10, that Odegaard's a better player because he's got more discipline and he will get more players into the game. Because I think one suits a free roll where he can play anywhere at the pitch or get goals, and the other one will suit his position. So it's different kind of skill sets. Odegaard wouldn't be great at a free roll. Palmer would and Palmer will be a good number 10, but I don't think he'd be as effective as Martin Odegaard. And to be honest, you wouldn't want to play Odegaard in a free roll, and you wouldn't want to play Palmer in another.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with Unks' analogy.
Both players suit their skill sets. Really suits the skill. I think it's easy to play Palmer in the number 10 because you've got players like Jackson, who's now getting his act together. Then you've got Madueke's playing really well. You've got Sancho or Neto. So to fit Palmer in that team, rather than take away the skill sets of the others, you can give him in that free role.
Jezza?
Yeah, I think Kenny's got it right there. They are two different types of players, aren't they, really? I think my honest opinion of Palmer, he likes to wander a bit. He sneaks in here, he sneaks in there. And that's the sort of sniffer goal scorer that you need in any team. And there's a comment somebody made there. How the hell did Arteta grab him when he actually trained with him? Come on. It's odd because I'd have taken Cole Palmer all day long, to be honest with you. I think he's a class player. Odegaard is a more disciplined player, as we know. But the thing with Odegaard is this is my worry with him. I don't dislike him. I think he's a decent player. But he does tend to go missing. And we can't afford that, especially in this game tomorrow against you guys down at the bridge. If he does start, he's got to step up. He's got to step up and show what he's got because we need that tomorrow. We're coming off the back of some pretty poor results where the other night, in the Champions League, was it Kenny, one shot on target again? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, one shot on target is, it's a case of like what I said on a couple of shows yourself, and I said with Danny that if International got the first goal, it's game over.
Yeah, you said that. You did say that. And we got to step up now. Will Kai Havertz be the man tomorrow? I think he's dropped off a cliff a bit. I did say that when we first got in, there was a player in there somewhere, and yes, he after Christmas last year, he certainly proved that he can score a few goals. But as of late, no. But regarding Cole Palmer and Odegaard, they are different types of player. Palmer, there is a rumor in there that he may not play tomorrow. Is that correct?
Well, I think it's touch and go for both of them, really, because they both got heavy knocks. Because it's one of those ones where you can kind of see Arteta playing Odegaard, but Maresca doesn't really take risks with players. So if he's hurt, Palmer won't play.
And based on the press conference,
the trouble is, we haven't got the depth of squad that you have got, so we've got to play these players, And I'll be very, very surprised I'll be very concerned if we play Rice, when considering he's got a broken bone in his foot, toe, whatever it may well be, I don't know. But that's a concern for me because that could possibly make things worse. But yes, I can see it's going to be panic again with Arteta. The man's clueless, and my views. I've said it often enough, and we're going to go again tomorrow and see what happens.
JPT, how are you feeling about Palmer versus Odegaard?
I mean, I think they were right. There's very different players, but it's just I had a question: is it more so that Palmer can play that more of like a free roll because he is the more creative type between the two?
Well, like Jezza said and Kenny said, when you were in when your midfielder is there to keep the game ticking, discipline's key, isn't it? So in terms of because I agree with Kenny is more spot on than you could possibly ever realize. Because when you look at them, Odegaard is more connected to the midfield, where the partnership with Lavia Caicedo will break down off the pitch, and then Palmer will go and do his own thing. So it effectively becomes the midfield pivot of the two of them. So I do think
more like a maverick.
More like a maverick. But I think is that can work against us tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
Because then they have a 3 against 2 in midfield. So like the only thing I will say is obviously with bending it like Declan not playing, is Partey fit?
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently, well, it depends on how much that Lavia and Caicedo, because I think Lavia is going to play tomorrow because he served suspension.
Yep.
I think Reece James will play tomorrow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm not being funny. I can see Lavia and Caicedo doubling Partey if Odegaard leaves him to it.
That's if he doesn't play right back.
Oh, don't.
Sorry, Jesse, you're going to say something there, mate. What was you going to say?
Sorry, Jess.
No, I was just going to say I don't want Partey at right back. You know.
Oh right, yeah.
He's put him in midfield. That's where he plays his best. We got Ben White. We saw this nonsense the other day when you got your right back who comes off the bench. Well, why aren't you starting then? Pathetic. And this is what frustrates me with this manager. But we'll see tomorrow, boys. We'll see.
Well, on that then, because the midfield battle is going to be key. Because I'm not being funny. Every midfield battle I've seen with a big team so far, bar maybe Newcastle when they knocked us out of the cup, we've won the midfield battle. So, JPT, right? Do you think we can get at the midfield? Do you think that's something where we can dominate again? Because as far as I know, even if Palmer did play or didn't, it was always going to be Lavia and Caicedo holding the midfield. We all knew that, right? So it was just, how do you feel that's going to go if it ends up being 2 against 1 on Partey?
Be good, but I think the main thing would be too is if they actually do start Declan Rice, because if he does have that bone issue
with a broken toe, that would be smart, bro.
12 metacard. Can you imagine Caicedo putting a heavy tackle or even Lavia, and then now you're going to risk Rice?
Yeah, so I think
even longer.
said that in the chat actually about a heavy challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to look for that comment, but. And then with that, and then to see if Odegaard, if he's still not at 100%, if he picks up a bad tackle or a foul, then I mean, I just don't see why. I mean, I get it that because it's a London derby that you want to start your best 11, but I just don't see the issue of Odegaard coming off the bench and starting Ethan Nwaneri, because that kid, the few minutes he's had, that kid fights for the badge. That guy he's playing like he's trying to take Odegaard's spot to be in that 10 role.
Well, you gotta have that hunger as a youngster, isn't it? When what's the old expression? When you get your chance to shine, you gotta be a little bit fearless. That's what I like about him as well. Like, I appreciate that and respect that, because it's not always trying to break into a big, especially particularly when you consider a top 6 team where not a lot of youngsters actually break through full stop. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes that's the one thing I will say that's different between the two Pep clones. Enzo kind of likes to involve everybody. If you're not involved, he'll tell you straight to your face you're not involved. Sod off. But with Arteta, it's we're a great big family here, unless you happen to be on the edge of it, i.e. the Trossards, the Tierneys, because that is the one guy I'm still worried about whenever we play Arsenal. Trossard.
Oh.
Da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-dum. He always scores against us. Even last year at the Bridge, what was it? Last year at the Bridge when we went 2-0 up and they equal that, right? Who let him come in on Gusto's right hand side? Trossard.
But then again, who wasn't scoring against us last season with Poch?
All right. Don't undermine my point.
I know. But I mean,
damn you, JPT.
I'm in a lot. Some people, when I say that, Ethan should start. I mean, why not?
That's a good point. I'm gonna come back to that. Sorry.
It's because no, you don't want Odegaard to start. You support Chelsea. Why? Of course you wouldn't want us to start our best 11. But as Jez and Kenny mentioned, with it's when adjusting the mentality thing, Ethan, I think even at this early age does have the mentality, and even back in the day, wouldn't you guys say that what's the expression? The games are won in the tunnels. I think that The games are one in the tunnel.
One in the tunnel?
Like the
Referring to?
games are won. Like they're
Oh,
won.
yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, the thing is, in terms of the mentality, you mean when they come out? Well, I remember when. Well, you could say that, but everyone would always argue that the result comes on the pitch. But if you've
Right.
got bad tactics
More
or
likely.
bad mentality or bad setup, then obviously you're gonna it can lead to failure. But it's not like a direct. Because one thing about Arsenal and Chelsea, and it's not quite as high on their list as maybe Spurs, but on our list in terms of our rivals, yes, we know Fulham's our London rivals, but we're never going to fight it out for the top tier with them. You know what I mean? So we always seem to think as Arsenal was the biggest London derby for us. Would you not agree? Because obviously
absolutely.
Fulham are good, Fulham are cool, and they're their nearest rivals. But when it comes down to the bragging rights, we want it against Arsenal and Spurs. More Arsenal, because realistically, beating Spurs is just beating Spurs. Like, you know what I mean? They have nothing to brag about. That's the thing. You know what I mean? They're still talking about
there.
Yeah, they spent 25 years trying to get in top 4. They got to one Champions League final, but that's it. But yeah, but on our point of view, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, right, that because of Enzo, the way he sets up Maresca, I mean, he sometimes sets up tactical plans but doesn't adapt them. Do you reckon it's going to be more case of that with Arsenal, right? If we come out with a plan, if it gets worked out, is he going to stick to it? Or are we actually going to see something unusual? Because I think Arsenal fans would say they have the same problem with Arteta in terms of we have a manager that sticks to a plan even when it's not working. Would that not be fair to say, Carl, Jez, Kenny? Would that not be fair to say?
Totally agree. He has no plan B.
He's stubborn, isn't he? Mikel's for instance, a striker issue. The problem we're going to have next season is that we may not get a striker because he's going to find that he's going to need a left back, a number 6 to replace Partey, and he's going to need a player in the left forward or left wing position because that is an area where we are without the pass, we're going to struggle as a number 6. If Partey gets injured, we struggle at number 6, and left back is still, and the left side is such a massive issue to the extent that we no longer we prioritise the right side of our attack when we're strong, and that's all down to Arteta. Not addressing those issues. He buys a ton of defenders, but we still got an issue at left back. He buys the odd front player in there, but we still got an issue in the left wing. That's something that's going to hurt us this season.
Well, can I ask you, what has happened to your left wing? Because you had Martinez there. You know, I mean, you can play other players there, and Trossard plays there as well. So why is it you have players there that can play the position?
Martinelli's out full. Martinelli don't beat his right back to the extent that right backs have comfortable games against him, and it's been the case all season. More prominent last week against Newcastle. Definitely the situation against Liverpool. So that's an issue. Trossard is not a good left wing because of his pace. And, we don't know whether Trossard's effective starting games will come off the bench. And Sterling's just not being used. You've had Sterling at your club. I don't know the situation with Sterling, but, since Sterling had to come back early, had to interrupt his World Cup voyage in 2022, he's not been the same player for club. Well, he hasn't played for his country since then. So clearly something happened there for Jimmy Southgate. And he hasn't been the same player for you. He tries his nuts off, but just isn't there. So we have to buy left wing.
Well, Jezza? And I'll ask Carl afterwards.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's frustrating to continually have to sit here and say the same thing about what has happened at this football club. We knew what we needed to do and we didn't do it, and we're going to pay the price, that's for sure. And I'm not confident Arsenal are going to get a result tomorrow, be fair with you. You're right. I mean, why did we loan Sterling? I've no idea.
That baffled me. I really don't. That was like us with João Felix. It's one of those signings that really doesn't make sense. It's like,
we haven't really played him, have we? He's come on. bit part here, bit part there. But at the end of the day, it's not. I just don't know. I don't know if Arteta really wanted him. To be honest, I don't know. But was this another Edu masterclass, which has gone totally down the toilet? But yeah, left wing. You know, I think we need to switch about here a little bit. Let's be honest, because Martinelli has dropped off a bloody cliff.
Wait, was this a mistake at the bottom? Because I actually have to say, now that he's actually found some like first team minutes regularly at Fulham, I agree with actually Smith Rowe. I mean, if Smith Rowe's balling out, was that a mistake letting him go? And because you were talking about depth fast, and I'll ask Carl quickly first. Like, is that a mistake? Because you guys had depth in that role. You know, number 10s or 10 likes. He would have been perfect for that role because he's doing it for Fulham right now. Was it a mistake letting him go?
He never got played. It was quite
Arteta. This is the issue.
So, with respect to Smith Rowe, you know, he's not the sort of player who wants to be a bench warmer. He's got too much talent for that. But Arteta clearly didn't want him. So, didn't look at him, didn't play him. So, out the door he went. And that is what is, I find, disgraceful with Arteta. He's a narcissist. It's either his way or the bloody highway. He's ruined so many players, in my opinion. Martinelli's gone backward. Trossard, I think, is fed up. You know, he relies all the time on Saka. It's the same move every single time. Flank it down that right wing. See if Saka can play the jiggery pokery, and we see what happens from there. Nah, it's boring. And if I can see it, Kenny can see it. Kenny goes week in, week out. At the end of the day, other teams can see it. And this is where we're going to fall down again. And we've let players go out the door for bollocks money, where we should have been playing them more and giving us a little bit more, you know, another bow to string. But nah, or string to our bow, should I say?
Yeah, I got what you meant.
But no, that's the Arteta way. Bow to your string. Yeah, that's the way.
Backwards. You must conquer. You can't play football. You must conquer football, Jez. like I did my wife.
Yeah, of course. I forgot about that. Cool.
That what?
No, I mean it is what it is, mate. And I'm not confident. I'm not at all. If you ask my honest opinion, I'm not confident at all about tomorrow.
Carl, do you agree with that? Like, what's happened with the depth of the Arsenal squad? Give me your take on it, bro. Like, what's Arteta done there? Is he made you with the signings and the players like the Vieiras and all these guys that seem to be signed, never played, and get shipped out again? Like, give me your take on the Arsenal squad.
Okay, I'll say for Arteta, I'll agree that he has poor management skills, because I feel like it's the same to he's a good player. It does that he doesn't get enough chances to impress the manager, as Jeff says here. And also, I feel if you look at the transfer window that Arsenal had, like towards the end, you guys made signings like you delayed the signings, like the signing of Michael Moreno. It took you guys long to sign him. Carifori took you guys long to sign Carifori. Yeah, and also I feel like that was a main issue of you guys. You guys take long in the transfer market to secure a deal where it can take you guys 2 weeks. It takes you guys like 3 weeks to secure a deal. But anyway, with Edu gone, maybe that could be improved.
Yeah, definitely. How many Edu signings have actually worked out for the better? Because how many players has he actually signed, Carl? Do you know? And Unks as well. How many players as well is he actually responsible in these in this team right now?
Is it only Odegaard?
Well, all right then. If that's the only players that are in the team right now, last name I heard was Odegaard, then wow, you really must have. I'm trying to think, right? Because Mourinho was an okay signing, but not a well beat.
Who worked out?
Yeah, who worked out? Because
they're asking who the whole list. My fault.
No. I just who actually worked out because okay, I heard Odegaard's name, but who's the other player you mentioned, Carl? Odegaard and who?
No, I mentioned Declan Rice
Oh, Declan Rice.
was a good signing for on the
Right,
Edu.
so that's Declan Rice and Odegaard, and out of how many more?
Was Ben White one of them?
Wait, hot fuzzy redknapp, redknapp. What the hell? What is that abomination? Yeah, because I'm trying to think because you guys have because I'm not trying to like dig out your signings, but it's the one of those ones because I think JPT would agree. We've made a hell of a load of signings, but we're kind of like shuffling through them like a card pack. But now we're getting that pack organized. Where you guys, it just seems to be deteriorating that little bit more. Like it's breaking because you got signings like Mourinho and Calafiori, but they're not. But were they ever actual players there to improve the first team or just give depth?
Calafiori's there for the long term. I suspect Calafiori, he's not the left back. He's there as centre half. I don't know what's happening with Gabriel's contract, or is maybe worries about Gabriel on the ball. But you always feel that Calafiori is always going to be like a player that's either going to push in for his place or take over from him. In terms of like Declan Rice, well, yeah, Declan Rice has worked out, but Mikel Arteta's got a problem because Declan Rice is a number 6. A lot of Arsenal fans have said that Declan Rice is an upgrade on Partey. I wish they got to wash their mouths out with soap and water now because that's clearly not the case. Declan Rice is going to be a good box-to-box midfielder. He's going to be an effective number 8, but as a number 6, number 6s these days are CDMs, not DMs. CDMs control football matches and run the game as well as protect the back four.
Partey does that job though. Partey does that job
that's
quite well.
That's why Partey is a better CDM than Declan Rice. Declan Rice hasn't got those attributes. You look at Caicedo now. Caicedo's showing that he has those attributes to be a good CDM. Like your 100 million signing, the Argentine, Fernandez. He's here, there, and everywhere. But you look a better team when you've got Lavia and Caicedo in the squad. And I'm not slacking off Fernandez because you know more about your club than I'll ever know. But one thing I will say factually, sometimes when you sign players who've won World Cups, some players look good in the system. But you take that individual out of the system, and you see the real player, you may find you'll be disappointed that he isn't the player you think he is. Mm-hmm. At that 100 million, what you paid for him, 2 years down the line, for me, I don't know what he's good at.
Keep it the bench warmer at this point because I want him out.
None of us like.
Yeah, he's and to give him the captain's ban after the controversy.
He calls, yeah, exactly.
Not the best.
Because the thing is, I think you just hit a nail on the head there. Because when it comes, because we did have, I was going to say about the big, the $100 million man, Odegaard versus Palmer, Rice versus like Caicedo, all that kind of thing. But we're not even sure if Odegaard or Palmer's going to play, so there's no point playing off of that too much. But we're not sure if Rice is going to play, but we're definitely sure that Caicedo is going to play. Would we not say that's fair, JPT? Because we need that guy. Now, I'll ask JPT first. Tell me how you think, because obviously I don't really want to talk about Enzo because he's crap and we struggle to find systems for him and where to put him. So we're going to stick on the positive vibe. Tell me right now how much you think Caicedo has grown and how much he'll help in the battle with them tomorrow, because I'm not being funny. I wouldn't trade this guy for anyone right now because he is starting to look the part. Do you agree on that take, or do you think he can still improve?
Bro, he's been improving since he's joined, and I know that he's first half of last season was difficult to see because he had arguably a partnership with Enzo, and since he got his hernia surgery, whatever, he was getting that fixed when he was even partnered up with Gallagher. You saw what Caicedo was bringing to the table, and now he's just been improving since then. if we're looking at if it's Caicedo and Rice in comparison, both being over 100 mil signings, very expensive, but that's just the name of the game nowadays. It just seems like we're looking more at getting the bargain, even though we paid an additional 10 mil from him, and it just looks like he's just been getting better and better, and there's talks like, is he one of the best or the better DMs or CDMs this season, and I it's kind of hard to go against that that take because of what he's been showing lately. And once when he's even getting better when he's been partnered up with Lavia, it's just is he gonna get an injury, or is Lavia getting an injury because he doesn't have the best injury record with us, and force our hand to have Caicedo play next to Enzo. So I think as long as that is prevented, we're just going to keep seeing a better and better Caicedo week in and week out.
Fair enough. Carl, give me your thoughts on Caicedo. How do you feel like from like the outside looking in? Tell me how you think Caicedo has grown in a Chelsea shirt compared to like maybe how he was last season.
You're muted.
Mute, Carl. You're on mute, Carl. We can't hear you, brother.
Oh, I thought my thing was muted anyway. Anyway, I was saying, I feel like Caicedo has improved. He's starting to show to people why Chelsea paid the amount of money he paid. Like, unlike Enzo, whose form has dipped like this season, Caicedo is like showing people why Chelsea paid the amount of money they paid for him. If you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. He's starting to look worth every penny, to be honest.
Yeah, he is.
Because I've heard him compared to, because people are starting to say, because people say, oh, is he become like a Makalele? I'm like, he's not that kind of player, and I think JPT would agree with that. But what I will say is, he's becoming more like an Essien. He's becoming the engine of the midfield. He's the one that brings things from defense into midfield into attack. He can help with the transitions. King Caicedo.
He's the ball winner, and his distribution has been pretty good. I mean, he's gained quite a few assists so far, even from where he's playing at. So he's linking up well with Jackson.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Unks? What about you, Jez? What do you guys think about Caicedo from the outside looking in? How do you think he's developed?
I think he's a good player, man. I think, yeah. I mean, come on. Look at the Arsenal team squad right now. You have to sit there and think, who would I take from Chelsea? And I'm sorry to have to say, I can think of two at least.
Well, go on. Who would you take?
I'd take Caicedo and I'd take Palmer. No question. All day long.
So, Jesse's upset spot on, because the thing is, Palmer's just, he's developing a good career for himself at Chelsea. Understandably, he wasn't giving shots to Man City because Man City have got so many good players, but he was brave enough to go to Chelsea and do stuff. But Caicedo, let's not forget, it wasn't long ago that we were in for Caicedo, to the extent that we were making bid after bid for the player, and Brighton had a valuation of £80 million. We offered £80 million. Brighton wanted more, and I think he's. I think the Brighton. Who's the Brighton coach before this guy? Who is it? Serbi kept on advising him to wait his turn and learn his trade, and his move will come. And in the end, it was between Liverpool and Chelsea. He went to Chelsea, but yeah, everyone at Arsenal have always been aware of his quality. When he's played against us, he's been fantastic, and it was a case where, if anyone would have been a replacement for a long-term replacement for Partey, it would have been Caicedo rather than Declan. To the extent that when we were buying Declan to play alongside Caicedo, not instead of Caicedo. So
yeah, because you were still trying to get rid of Partey at that time.
People need to get that into perspective. That Lavia is a Declan Rice kind of player. That you've got a Declan Rice prototype in Lavia. and we've got you've got the Thomas Partey prototype in Caicedo at your club. So for me, Caicedo's a fantastic player, and all Arsenal fans 100% aware of that because we were linked with him. In the beginning of last calendar year, we were two players we were linked with that went to Chelsea, Caicedo and Mudryk.
Well, a lot of people would have laughed at Mudryk, but because that was the other guy I was going to talk about as well, because I was going to talk about Mudryk. Because I know for the Arsenal fans, he's a bit of a laugh. Well, to us, he's beginning to be a little bit more or less like a joker and a bit more like a baller. And I think every Chelsea fan would jump through his defense by saying he hasn't been coached over the last 2 years. Now that he's starting to be coached, you're actually seeing the talent that's coming out. And I do believe as well, similarly to the Odegaard and Harbour comparison, I think Declan Rice isn't as all well-rounded as Caicedo. Even if he is slightly better, maybe one of because I do think when it comes to maybe strength in the midfield, Rice is a bigger frame. There's certain things that he's naturally better suited at than Caicedo. But I just think with his mobility and his general athleticism, I think there's more to Caicedo's game. Would that not be? Is that not a fair analogy? Because don't get me wrong, I understand what Unks is saying about the Lavia comparison to Rice. Because that's what we want in terms of from Lavia. He's that guy that can sit there and hold. While in the other case, way where it'd be Partey. Actually, I think Lavia would be our Partey. Would you not say, JPT? Who would you say was the one that sat in front of the pack for the most and protected? Like, it would be because it's Lavia, really, isn't it? Because Enzo doesn't offer any protection to that. Because that's one thing I am glad.
Exactly.
If
Enzo offers protection as a broken condom, bro, it's horrible from him.
Pull out quick, pause. And Semble says yes, he's looking like the player now. Yeah, but the thing is, because what I'm trying to get really from Arsenal fans, is it more the fact that Declan Rice has been struggling because he's been maybe more injured himself recently, and it's just hampering his overall game? Or how does everyone feel about Rice on this one? Because he is a good player, and I'd still say he's worth that 100 mil. So what's going wrong for him right now? I'll ask. Go on, Jez. Sorry, go on.
I think Kenny would agree with me on this. To me, he hasn't looked the same player since he came back from the Euros. And I don't know why. Because he's class. Is this another player that's being played in the wrong position and he's getting the arse? And he's thinking, for Christ's sake, you brought me in here to do a job, to do this job. I mean, you compare Rice this season to last season. Totally two different players. So what's going on here at this football club? There, to me, can only be one common denominator. We see this all the time with players, and it has to be down to Mikel Arteta and the coaching, all the tactics, may I say. Because you can't be all these players come in, right, and be levels and all of a sudden just drop off. There's got to be something here that is the common denominator. And to me, the only thing you can look at is the manager, coach.
Yeah, me and you have spoken about that regularly, Jez, actually, because even when we spoke about the London thing and Mr. Gunner dropped in on us, we were talking about players that Arteta has actually improved. And Big Unc's one there for this one. And I'll actually ask him here, because I know what Jez is saying, because I've had multiple conversations, but I'll ask Unks, could you honestly say there's a player at Arsenal that Mikel Arteta has coached and outright improved? And that's not a dig. That is just a genuine question.
To be honest, you'd have to say no. And the reason, and it's not a dig at Mikel Arteta, it's the reason why it's hard for players to improve, because Mikel Arteta updates our style of play every season. He changes it every start of season. You look at how we played in during the lockdown years, and you look at how we played when we should have got the top four. Then he got new players in, and we went to a different style in 22-23. Then 23-24, he's changed it, and this year he's having to adapt it a little bit. So it's hard for players to, that certain players are gonna be able to pick it up. Other players are going to struggle, and that is the problem. Another thing as well, it's hard to improve a player where Mikel Arteta has shown that he uses you for a certain style of play. And when he doesn't need you, he moves you on and gets someone else in. So it's hard for a player to improve under that circumstances. But let's be honest. The reason why Declan Rice is struggling, the reason why we're all struggling, teams have worked us out. Teams have worked us out. You know, when's the last time Arsenal kept a clean sheet in the league? Tottenham. We're meant to be the side that's got the best defence and the best defence. But I'll tell you now, Liverpool and Man City have got better defensive records than us. We probably conceded one less goal than Tottenham. You know what I mean? So, and they apparently can't defend. And then if you look at the way we attack, it seems the only way we seem to be, we're trying to break teams down, especially on getting into that side, set pieces. So everything's got broken down. And even at our set pieces, we've only scored 3 set pieces because teams have worked us out. Majority of them. Man City will never work us out at set pieces because Man City play one way. They believe they're the best team in the country and that teams have got to adapt to them rather than the other way around. Mm-hmm. And in terms of Tottenham, well, Tottenham and set pieces don't add up. And Liverpool, you know, that was a free kick. But apart from that, you saw the Inter game. How many set pieces did we have? How many set pieces did we try to prioritise in Inter? Nothing. And that's the thing. We need creativity is lacking without Odegaard on the side. And the thing is, does Odegaard turn up in the big games? Away from home?
No. The thing is, Kenny, also, I'm sure you've noticed this, right? Mm. When we've got a set piece, our set piece coach is straight up off the bench, standing there, and he's got his iPad there, and you can see he's like looking like almost is everybody on the right spot? Yeah, like a game of chess. You should be there. 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 And it invariably, as you quite rightly said just now, last season we were scoring great goals from set pieces, corners, things like that. We're not this year. So what's going down? What's broken here then? So again, Kenny, you're quite right. We've been sussed, and you can't rely. You've watched football as long as me, and you can't rely on this sort of same thing year in, year out. You have to mix it up. And we're not doing it, Kenny. We're not doing it, guys. And we're getting sussed out like that. And that is where it's all going tits up. Because I'm sorry to have to say it, and I keep saying it, right? This manager hasn't got the knowledge and experience because he hasn't learned his trade at a lesser position. The job is too big for him at Arsenal. Sorry. Right? He's got away with it. Coming second twice. If he was a proper manager, right, he would have won at least one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Didn't do it.
Yeah, I agree. Particularly the first one as well, because it was all in your hands there. And the biggest criticism I have about that when you drew with Southampton 3-3, and I think you lost to Brighton 3-1, was the fact of how any big team, any title challenger or any cup winner or whatever, when you play at home is when you have to have that killer instinct. That wouldn't necessarily be where you expect to buckle, would it? So, and the way, because Southampton were bottom of the Premier League at that time, if I remember correctly, weren't they?
Relegation time.
So it was kind of strange because it was like, and I think maybe Kyle touched on this a little while ago about a mentality problem. It wasn't like you guys, all right, we're going to finish the league now by stomping everybody that comes to the Emirates. It's kind of like, oh, we're a bit nervous. Can we handle it? That kind of the tentative approach. Would that be the fair thing to say? It was the tentative approach, and it never quite worked out. Now I want to ask Carl this quickly before he's got to go. Bless him, because he's got things to do. But would you not agree with what Kenny and Jez says, Carl? Would you now say that maybe the Arteta mentality, if you like to call it, has now run its course and it's worn out? And as they both just said, are you guys figured out or not by everybody else? Because what's your take on this?
Yeah, I feel like the Arteta is losing the dressing room, because how long would the players start to believe in trusting the process? Cannot be two to 3 seasons in, and you're still finishing runners up, and you still want your locker room to trust in the process. Because if Arteta doesn't win a title this season, next season he'll have lost it, the dressing room totally.
Well, hang
Because
on.
there's no player in that.
Go on. Sorry, you're going. There's no player.
Yeah, because there's no player in the dressing room next season who will believe in a manager that says the led last season for the fourth season in a row that finish as runners up for 25-26 again. No player will want to believe that, and maybe and you know these players will want to win trophies. They want to win trophies, so they'll want to move to bigger clubs to achieve that. It's either they move to bigger clubs or Arteta is gone.
Well, yeah, it's going to be one or the other, isn't it? Because if Arteta stays, I'm not being funny. Sooner or later, you can only fail so many times before everyone says, "You know what? I've had enough of this. It's time to go somewhere else and try and." Because obviously, if you can't succeed at Arsenal, you need to move on. So, and what do Arsenal fans now feel it's time for a change of manager? Because on the last subject I was going to bring up was because obviously it's still the battle of the Pep clones, isn't it? It's Arteta versus Enzo or Maresca or as I call him, Mascara. Now, don't laugh, JPT. You know I've been saying that since the start of the season. So, it's one of those ones I've got to ask. Right? Do you guys, as Arsenal fans, see any difference between the two?
No, I think Arteta is more highly thought of, not by us, but for some reason, I think that he's like the next second coming. You know, I've said to Jez many times. I'm happy to say it on this podcast that I always call Guardiola Joey because his name's Josep, so I don't call him Pep. Call him Joey. I always say Joey's going to leave in 2026. And I always had this suspicion, now more than ever, that Mikel maybe, no, I might be nice. I think Mikel could be using Arsenal as a stepping stone to get that job when Joey goes, because he knows the club inside out. He's still got a lot of people who hardly think of him a lot. He would argue that the reason why I didn't win the league is because I couldn't beat Joey, and if I go to Joey now, I'm going to have the better players to work with, and I'm going to have a better CEO than Edu to work with, and you know what I mean. I've got a better structure to work with. I'll never ever rule that out. It may not happen, but I'll never rule it out. That's our Arteta. But in terms of what's going to happen, I think if Arteta doesn't win the league, he'll walk. There's a lot of Arsenal fans are now saying that if Liverpool finish above Arsenal, then he's in any capacity, then he's going to have to go, because Arsenal fans who are Mikel Arteta disciples or apostles, whatever you want to call them, they will accept Man City finishing above us because they're the only teams who was allowed to be superior to Arsenal. But if Liverpool finish above Arsenal, then they'll have a problem with that, which kind of defies, not just footballing logic, but logic in general. But just shows you that's their standards. They're clearly saying that they're fully accepting defeat to Man City when they really shouldn't have, because we've had a title in our hands the last 2 years where we should have won it. Man City have proved to be beatable, but in their eyes, Man City. So work that one out.
Yeah, I try not to because it doesn't really make that much sense, to be honest. What about you, JPT? How are you feeling? Because it is, like I said to the Arsenal boys just now, it is still a battle of the Pep clones. How do you feel from the Chelsea side perspective? Because I know, as I said earlier, I do have tactical worries about Enzo, but they're more mid-game. How are you feeling about this?
I mean, Kane was, so on with it when it comes to seeing what these guys have done. I do think they came into these clubs way too early or too soon. As you know, for them, Arteta's first job right after being Pep's assistant, and maybe he could have gone elsewhere to get his feet wet. I don't know, maybe Girona would have been, since he would have still in that city system. But of course, it's just for the vibes, I guess, because I don't know how you would bring in a manager to run a club this big. And you can say the same thing when we got Lampard, where I think before that his only job was Derby. For Maresca, I mean, congratulations with winning the championship with Leicester, but he is also very stubborn with, like, he only has a plan A, and option playing from the back with these center back pairings and with Sanchez, which he's still falling on. He's dying on that hill for that. Sanchez is our number one. I don't know how, when he was even Poch's number one at this point of the season, subbing him out for Petrovic. But yeah, so it's more so that it's the same thing as what you expect from a Pep student, and I just don't think it's just really gonna really last too much longer. Especially, you're never gonna beat the original, so you can always try to replicate
clones
it,
are clone,
imitate it exactly, and it's gonna come and bite you in the ass. Now, there's some that from his students that have worked, because I think Luis Enrique was one of his students.
Mikel Arteta. I didn't know you had it in you, Jez.
He looks a bit younger in that picture too. Oh man, but yeah, it is just two sides of the same coin, I guess, if I were to put it in short.
So, someone driving a tractor says, all right. Question to Jez and Kenny: is London red or blue, lads? All right.
It's always red. We're the biggest club. We're the biggest club. We're still the biggest club in London.
European Cup.
I respect. You got every right to dispute that, because you won 2 Champions Leagues, and you've had and when Roman was there, Roman turned you into a world power, because I think before Roman went there, you only won, was it 5 trophies before Roman went there, and he turned you into a big club.
No, we won 5. We won 5 trophies in the 10 years in the build up to Roman. Unks.
Yeah. We beat
but you're right. We didn't win a lot. Maybe an FA Cup and a league title there. Yeah.
You won the title. You won the title in 55.
We would have been the first teams in Europe as well.
Yeah, you won the FA Cup in 1970, and then you didn't win it. And then you won the European Cup in 71. And you didn't win anything for a good 20-something years.
That's true.
Before you won the FA Cup, and then you won trophies with, like, Vialli, the FA Cup, the League Cup with Vialli, and the Cup Cup with Vialli, and then you won the FA Cup in 2000.
Yeah,
those were 20 trophies in total before Romain came in, and then Romain just turned you into a massive European power. And the fact you're playing the World Cup Championships in the end of the season shows how far you come. But for me, a team that's won 13 league titles and won 14 FA Cups is still the biggest club in London for me.
That's
true. But as you mentioned, with that trophy drought that we had from 70 to 90s, I mean, you guys are not a trophy drought, but I mean, you guys are going on that drought for 20 years for the Prem as well.
Yeah,
it's getting, and based on from what I've seen, especially with online, and I don't want online to be a proper representation of the Arsenal fan base, but you guys are happy, or at least from the wrong side, as I call it. They're happy finishing second.
No. That's the Goud Water fan base, man.
I mean, that's the all fraud television fan base, bro. What are you talking about?
He's right. JPT's right. The Arsenal fans, we do get on TV and do represent us on Sky Sports, TNT.
It's all Rory Jennings.
They do tend to be.
Stand that guy,
They do tend to be fans who, in my opinion, who say nice things about the football club. And Brighton have just equalised, by the way.
Hey! Pep's going to get the sack. Pep out!
It's Yao Pedro's coming to the bench, and he's just equalised. Brighton, this second half, have been absolutely brilliant. They've had chances and they finally, City finally creaked. It's a scrappy goal, but all goals count.
Mm-hmm.
And he was onside.
Well, the thing is, on answer to this, right, what Ace has just said, the thing is that a lot of people misunderstand what the mass spending was about. Like with all the riffraff about FFP or FRP or financial fair play now, whatever you want to call it, the massive amounts of money that was spent weren't to not highly improve the squad, but it was to drastically bring the finances of the squad down. That's why we got rid of the Mason Mounts and the Kai Havertzes that are on 250, 200 a week. And we brought in the people like Jackson because they were younger on a lot less wages. Because at the minute, you won't find anyone playing for Chelsea that gets paid over 180 grand a week. And that's the reason why we got rid of all those players like, Jorginho's, all those sort of players. We got rid of all them to bring our overall wage structure further down. Because there's a famous interview about when Todd Boehly took over and all the big stuff about Rudy Jaeger going to Real Madrid. And it was just a couple of months beforehand and about the takeover and what was going on with Abramovich. And he even said that if it wasn't for Roman Abramovich pissing around and messing the guy around in his contract, it wouldn't have cost Chelsea, what was it, a loss of? Because Rudy Jaeger, in the way he walked away, I think that counts as a 65 million pound loss to the club. And it was all Roman Abramovich inherited. You know what I mean? Because even if you take over the club, you still got inherent problems that the club will have. You know what I mean? So you still got to deal with that. So it was a lot more than just it. It was kind of like Todd Boehly's way of doing that with everything in terms of player-wise that Abramovich did and launching it over his left shoulder. And even he's got it wrong because we signed 50-odd players and maybe 25 of them have played for Chelsea. Now, so it's really weird because if you look at Arsenal's wage structure now compared to Chelsea's, I bet your guys is far higher than ours because we don't have any players that get paid 200. Who's at Arsenal now that gets 200 G's a week at least?
I think, Kenny, I'm right in saying, isn't it? In our first team squad, we've only got 4 players that are on about 80k a week. The rest are all over 100 grand and upwards, aren't they?
Our players are very well played. Saka is one of the highest paid players at the club. The highest paid player at the club at the moment is Kai Havertz. Odegaard's on a big salary. Martinelli's on a massive salary, we found. He's on 180 grand a week.
That's the same as Enzo.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But I don't see Todd Boehly and Maresca wanting to get rid of Enzo, but he wants to get rid of Sterling, who's on 325 a week, and he wants to get rid of who's that? Chilwell. We want to get rid of Ben Chilwell, who's on 200 grand a week.
Yep.
So, and he wants to keep players who are on sort of a strict wage structure, which, again, very un-Chelsea-like. But then again, I've got to remember that Roman's not there. Personally, if you want me to say something, change the subject. Roman Abramovich, I'm surprised you lot don't have a statue of him outside your ground. If anyone has put Chelsea on the map, it's him.
I agree.
He did it, all his methods. The fact is, without him, we'll be having a debate, but it'll be a situation where Roman Abramovich was the worst thing that ever happened to Arsenal because you nicked everything that we were London's top club. We were the ones who were challenging for the things, and you just came in and went bang, smashed us out of the water in every aspect.
And it wasn't a shit.
2-1 Brighton. 2-1 Brighton.
Oh,
Matt O'Reilly just put Brighton 2-1 up.
Well, that was the thing, actually.
In the 82nd minute, Matt O'Reilly, the Danish international, has just put Man City, Brighton 2-1 up. Man City weren't particularly comfortable, but they are now 2-1 down.
Hey, raise your hand for Pep out. I'm Pep out. Say yay. Yay. You're right, Ken. Because I remember back then as well when Mourinho first took over and you guys had just your unbeaten season. I remember, because not many fans that probably watch football can relate to this, but it's very different back then when you looked at Arsenal as the top club in England, because they were at the time. You just finished your unbeaten season. You were playing a brand of football that not many teams could match because you could cut open a team in 3 or 4 passes. You know what I mean? You had 2 wingers in obviously Ljungberg and Perez that were very different, but were both very good at what they did. Ljungberg was the quicker one, but he would get in behind, but obviously Perez was Perez. that French connection of Vieira, him, Henry. They could all do a little something special, particularly Perez bending it off his right foot. You know what I mean? Because the amount of long shots that guy used to score was ridiculous. So I remember when Arsenal were the team to beat and what it was like watching that game at Highbury. Do you remember the 2-2? I'm not sure. Was either of you two there? The 2-2 with Chelsea in 2004.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I was there when Mourinho's first game. Yeah, when we...
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you remember the hype around it, Unks? They had to terminate a build-up.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And they called it Judgment Day and everything on Sky Sports. It was
mental. We were leading both games. We were leading both times. It was John Terry got the equaliser, and was it Good Johnson got the equaliser as well?
Yeah, that weird header.
Yeah,
yeah. Do you remember Henry's free kick with the ref?
Yeah,
Can I take it? Can I take it? Can I take it? And he tipped it over.
Was the referee that day? I remember it because I was in the clock end that time. Yeah,
great day when football was something else. Kenny, the juggernaut of football knowledge. There you go.
True.
But look, thank you, boys, because I'm going to quickly get score lines from everybody. Then I'm going to round because obviously we're going to round it off because obviously it's been an hour and I don't want to take too many people's times because obviously Kyle's got to go and I think Kenny might have to go as well. So I'm not going to hold it. But quick score lines. Kyle, what do you think the score is going to be tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to say 2-1 to Arsenal. The reason I'm saying 2-1 is, you see, Chelsea, they are bad at Chelsea, they're bad at taking the set pieces, and Arsenal is good.
We are.
Yeah, so, well, if Arsenal gets that set piece,
big up, Malia.
They can score guess to guess as well. I feel like if Arsenal manages to at least contain Palmer in the game, if Palmer plays, that's just, if they manage to contain Palmer and Caicedo, they can win the game.
Fair enough. JPT? 7-1 Arsenal. Wow.
I seen a touchdown.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
We're not Noah, man.
We sunk the Ark the other night.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, 3-2. To who?
Answer the question quickly. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. But yeah, no, it's gonna be whether or not we're gonna outscore our mistakes because we make mistakes left and right.
Yeah.
I think we have enough to win it, but we're just gonna give up a couple of easy goals. Say 2-2.
Yeah. And if Colwell plays, he's gonna take someone out and let them get a penalty. Because in every big game, he always wipes someone out in the box.
Or Fofana's gonna miss time a ball or a horrible position and just.
Well, at least Fofana doesn't give away penalties because I'm expecting Tosin and Fofana to start that game tomorrow.
God.
Ooh,
yeah, I know. I don't mess about. He scored against no one, man, during the week. That guy's on the way back.
That's a killer right there.
Free header. Instinct, you know. A stink. Oh, hang on. He says a stinky 1-1. Okay. Jezza, what do you think the score is going to be?
I'm going to go for a Desmond, mate. I'm going 2-2.
All right, he's going. Okay, 2-2. Another high scorer. I'm not going to. I can see you guys scoring 2 just because of the amount of mistakes we make. And set pieces. It's funny that Carl mentioned set pieces because me and JPT have been talking about how wasteful Chelsea are at set pieces, and particularly corners. Just put it this way: when it comes to our attacking threat from corners, you ain't got nothing to worry about. Really, nothing to worry about. Unks, what do you reckon the scores will be?
But think of Arsenal. Arsenal struggle to break teams down, and we haven't kept a clean sheet since for 2 months now. So I'm going to go for a 1-1.
1-1. Okay. Fair enough. And Malia says a draw or a loss. Okay. Well, I personally think I think games like this are normally very anticlimactic. You know, they normally get the big build up. It's Chelsea versus Arsenal and all that. And we've both got big players that may or may not play. Because even though we're not in quite as bad a situation as Arsenal is in terms of the injuries, fitness-wise, there's still question marks over Lavia, Gusto, Palmer, Sancho, etc., etc. So, to be honest with me, and considering Enzo Maresca doesn't actually have a set 11, I think it all depends on how we set up on the day, to be honest. But I'll go 2-2. Why doesn't Lee come on anymore? I don't know. He doesn't really come on my channel, mate. To be honest, it's with a loss. But yeah. So, anyone else got any parting thoughts they want to share before we wrap it up, boys?
Yeah, sorry, man. Yeah, Arsenal history and more. Thanks for having me on, as always. It's been a while, and it's been a great chat tonight. Actually, really enjoyed it. People in the comments as well putting in factual statements. Yeah, it's been good. And Kenny, have a great day tomorrow at the ground. And
thank you very much.
Yeah, and yeah. So it's been a good show, man. Thank you.
Unks, you got anything coming up on Instagram or?
No, well, Instagram. I've taken a mickey out of Thomas Tuchel, because they said that on today. They said Thomas Tuchel was a sure thing for Man United, and I put it out to my my followers. Would Man United dodge a bullet or they miss out? I think they dodged a bullet because Tuchel only stays at the club for 2 years maximum before he either gets bored and starts an argument out of nothing. But in terms of like tomorrow, can't wait to get to the game. Looking forward to it. I don't have a YouTube channel, unfortunately, because I don't know. I think there's too many Arsenal YouTube channels out there. I don't think they need me to sort of like, how do I say it in nice terms? I don't think they need me to, create a crowded carriage in a tube.
I think you'd be a lot more of the more popular ones because everyone loves you anyway.
I would give a subscribe and a follow, because even though there's a bunch of Arsenal fan channels, the majority of them are shit. None of them will tell it how it is. But I'm saying, when I see videos with you, Jez, Lee, and I see with the new guy too, DJ, it just seems like the Avengers are selling together to tell the truth, and I'm like, I'm there for it.
Yeah, thanks to JBT. Thing about it is, you talked about people who've actually blacklisted by a lot of Arsenal, by virtue of the club and the big Arsenal channels, because of the fact that we just can't be trusted to follow the party line. We're the type of people who, instead of using their tongs and knife and forks for the buffet, we just put our fingers in and help ourselves.
They grab it with their hands, old school.
Yeah, we grab it with our hands. So that's why you'll find that I'm not welcome in a lot of podcasts, but I'll live.
Always welcome here. Yeah, you're always welcome here, man.
Yeah. They're lost, man. That's fact.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel sometimes. But good luck. It's their channels. They've got to do what they have to do. But I know there's one channel that I know there's a couple of channels I've been reliably informed that I'm not welcome on.
Not this one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I've always got a lot of love for Unks, because he was the first one of the first people I actually spoke to when I come onto YouTube in terms of football wise. And me, him, and Ola, and obviously Jezza as well. So we had a great convo the first time I chatted with him. But anyone says differently, fuck off.
Exactly.
Anyway, so Kyle, you've got a watch along coming tomorrow. Obviously, Chelsea versus Arsenal. Give some information about that, young bro. What's going on there?
Yeah, I have a watch along tomorrow for Chelsea versus Arsenal. That a live watch along. If you guys want to join, you can join. I'll send the link to, I think, Simon. I'll send the link to Simon.
Yeah, I should be doing that with him as well, by the way. It should be a little joint venture, because he asked me about that the other day, about doing the watch along. So I'll be with Carl tomorrow. Yeah. And I think hopefully JPT, you'll be joining us tomorrow.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Right, absolutely. Well, fine. And if Jez, if you're not doing your own watch along, would you like to do a combined thing with us?
I might actually miss the game tomorrow, because I've actually got to do some stuff tomorrow with the family. But
all right.
If I'm about, I'll let you know, man.
Please do, sir. Please do. So yeah, we'll catch me, Kyle, and JPT then tomorrow. Then for obviously the game tomorrow. DJ Crane will be there. I'll be there. So big up Mama Flossie as well. Queen Flossie, hope you're doing well. The dogs are good. Thanks, chat. Agreed. Thank you, everyone. Everyone's kept it respectful. They've kept it factual, and it's been a very, very good stream. Thank you to everyone that's taken part. It's been relaxed. There's been no stupidity, and we've got some facts on the table. So big up to Carl, big up to Kenny, big up to Jez. Much love to the three of you for your time, and obviously big up to JPT. Have you got anything coming up over the weekend, bruv? Other than watch along, have you got anything to shout out?
No, no, that's it. Just a watch along, and then of course, if as long as we're free on Monday night or even Tuesday, because we all got different schedules, different lives. Do the Blues Brothers review show for with of course my partner in crime, and yeah, of course. So yeah, Jazz, we hope to see you there, but again, priorities with the family. Kyle can't wait for tomorrow. Kenny Ken,
Are you
I
doing it
hope.
on your channel, guys? Well, I mean, sorry. If I can make it, is it on yours, JPT, or Wolfie's, or
Oh,
Most likely Wolfies.
yeah,
Like,
you can
he'll
share
make
it
up
to
the
yours
stream.
as well, Jazz, if you
Mhm.
wanted to, like today.
yeah? If I can make it, mate, I'll
Yeah.
contact you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Sure.
of course, we would love to have you on the stream, but I get it. Family comes first. Like that, no one's gonna dispute that.
Yeah, but if it's cold tomorrow, I ain't going. So
Yeah, well,
There you go.
the weather has turned over the last couple of days over
No.
here. It's not pretty at the
insane.
moment.
Weather's been terrible like last couple of days. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It's insane
proper
because
cold
over
here
here,
today.
it feels like
I
it's
went out
summertime
earlier,
still
it
here.
was like 6 degrees today.
Mhm.
That
And
was
it's
around
been damp.
3:30. It's horrible. I was like, nah. If it's like that tomorrow, boys, I ain't going. So
All right, well, we'll watch this space, and I'll
Mm.
pray for rain, thunder, and lightning.
Amen.
No, but big up to everybody. I appreciate everyone in the chat as well. DJ Crane, Rob, Rosie, the assembled Mama Flossie, everybody, Aces, this bloody hell,
A
Malia.
lot of people in the chat today.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
Big up
I'm
to
trying
each
to
and every one of
Emerson,
you.
every single person that's contributed. Please, 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 whatever, no matter what stream or feed you're watching this on, smash a like because it helps all of us just get that little bit further on YouTube. It's a poisonous land, but we do our best. It's hot here in Bristol. Well, that's 6 degrees, so that's hot for Bristol. Like,
Yeah.
that could be mighty cold as well. That's summertime for him. That's t-shirt weather.
no, that's the temperature for the engine of his tractor.
Because it's still on fire. There you go. Big up Arsenal X-rated as well. Big up dropping all the links in there as well. Big up to you, sir. Thank you for that. And Mama Flossie and Rosie and everyone that's helped put the links into the channels for all that love and good stuff. And I will say good night. God bless. And hopefully we'll smash Arsenal tomorrow. Well, take care. Stay safe. And we're out of here. Peace.
Arteta out.